So I think we are here today for the HR Powered part 2 of June panel discussion. So today's panel discussion is about building a strong talent pipeline for growth. So we are here today to discuss how startups can attract and retain top talent in Southeast Asia to fuel business growth. Right, before we start, right, I would like to share a bit about our sponsor for this event. So our sponsor, the first sponsor today is AmaChat. So AmaChat is actually a team collaboration tool in terms of communication. So it's like a team chat tool. Everyone feel free to check them out. We also have Job Majestic, which one of our panelists today, Ms. Kawei, is working with. Job Majestic is actually a job platform. They started in 2020, and since then they have paired about 20,000 candidates with more than 3,000 companies and employers already. And on the other hand, we also have Project Asia Data. So Project Asia Data is actually a Malaysian-based leading provider of enterprise solutions in Asia. So they offer a wide range of innovative and effective solutions to meet the needs of businesses across various industries. Right, thank you to all of them. And also just some short intro of today's panelists. We have Mr. Hassan Mehdi, who is an entrepreneur himself, was a head of departments, worked in a Global 500 company before, overall an industry veteran with many hats. So currently the executive director of Dotlines, offering IT consultation services. We also have Ms. Kawei Lam, which is currently the talent acquisition manager of Job Majestic. So like I mentioned just now, since launch, Job Majestic in 2020, they have connected more than 20,000 talents already with 3,000 companies and more. On the other hand, we also have Mr. Teh Kang Suan. Let me know if I pronounce your name wrongly. Who is a chartered banker with more than 13 years of solid experiences in treasury and markets of a regional bank. So he's in charge of compliance, cross-border transaction, P&L, and many more. All right, I guess that's the opening. I think we can start off the panel discussion right now. I think Ms. Kawei, since you work in a job platform company, would you mind to kickstart the discussion?
Just for information, I'm working under the company called JEV Management. It's a recruitment agency. It's a sister company of the Job Majestic. So we have, if let's say speaking of the Job Majestic platform, so what is it so special about the platform? Because we are actually using the AI technology. So meaning to say, if let's say the job seeker, they already apply the job through the portal, they can straight away know like how well is their scoring. For example, if let's say some of the candidates they are not aware on is it am I shortlisted for the job, etc., etc. So after they apply for the job, they can know about if let's say my scoring is about like 80%, 80%. So the employer side will also aware that this person is a very good talent for the job. So this is the special thing about the JM.
So Ms. Kawei, I believe what you mentioned just now is the train system, right? If not mistaken.
Yeah, the train system, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's quite interesting as well because I saw Jess, which is I think is your boss, and also a friend of mine. I think she's been promoting a lot on this new technology that you guys launched, which is this pairing and stuff like that. So how is it going so far in terms of this implementation of this new technology?
So far the response is quite good because I would say for this one it's quite a new technology right now because we rarely see some job platform they're using all this AI system to check whether or not this candidate is suitable for the job. So from the perspective of the job seeker, I personally feel that if let's say I apply for the job, I can see like how relevant my profile to the job. I will much more energetic and I will much more happier to wait for the update from the hiring manager. So instead just like apply for the job, with no response everything, because I can know my scoring, so I can know whether or not I'm the top applicant for the job. So if let's say from the perspective of the HR, so because usually for the HR they have to review a lot of resume in a day, so it will also help them to reduce some workload, because they can just post the job on the job poster, and then they can see like which applicant is the top one, so they can just select to contact all the top applicant instead of going through all the resumes.
That's interesting. That's after the implementation of the train system, right? Maybe Hassan or Mr. Day can share a bit on how talent pipeline used to be, like before all this AI and technology starts to take over. Like back in the days, how was it built, and what do you feel like that is really lacking? And is the technology today that we heard of, like the train system that KW mentioned, are they actually addressing some of the gaps and some of the problems that we have with talent pipeline building since the past?
Yeah, okay, Jin, maybe I go first before Hassan can have his input as well. By the way, you can call me Kang Soon, it's fine, don't you call me Mr. Yeah, so I now currently wear another hat. Now I'm a postgraduate, so a PhD student in organization behavior, and basically one of the modules that I teach in university as part of my PhD studentship is career planning and development. So I can tell from what the Gen Z people are looking for. But coming back to your question, when I was in the bank, it is a very traditional kind of way of recruitment. So basically, as you probably know, if a position is vacant, you will basically reach out to HR via the HRBP, which is a HR business partner. Tell him, like, let's say, for example, you're looking for a head of sales in treasury, right? So you basically have to craft the JD. Now, because treasury or global markets in a lot of foreign banks, they are known of, it's quite unknown to many HR people, unless the HR is specialized in recruiting treasury or global markets people. More often than not, I've encountered situations where the JDs, they can't even draft the JDs. They need the people to draft the JDs for them. They can't even come up with a first cut, basically, right? So that is one problem that we have. But never mind, it gives me work to do so that I can draft the JD for the HRBP. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to screening and things like that, it's a very traditional thing, manual, or basically hard copies and everything. And they look for keywords. Right now, like what Kerwei is saying, you can use AI or algorithm or even IT to screen out the keywords, to look for the right skills, the right qualification, the right experience, and the right breadth that you are looking for, right? But it is all done manually until very recently, right? And the third thing is that there are good and bad for it. The good is that some people may not have the direct qualification, but they are often overlooked because they don't have the keywords in there, right? I give you an example. What do I mean by that? Let's say, for example, for people like me who is a business manager in treasury, right? Basically, I look after everything short of doing trading and sales, right? I manage the business like risk, audit, compliance, even HR recruitment, for example. I'm possibly the first person to interview before I say, boss, these are the 5 candidates I shortlist, you go for second interview. So I understand the process, but I don't have a HR qualification. I don't have a finance qualification, but I do all these sort of things. So often and not, people like me, if you go through the AI kind of thing, you will get overlooked. You will not get even an interview, not even shortlisted at all. So there's good and bad using manual thing, but manual thing, if you look at it, maybe the person will say, Jin, let's say you look at my CV, say, this person don't have finance, but he has done treasury work. Interesting. Okay, maybe I want to have a chat with him. So, but AI automatically will cut you off already for that. So that's my input.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kamso. What about Hassan? Do you have anything to say to add on as well?
Okay, I think there are two things happening, and these are very good things that are happening. Number one, the use of psychometrics is one very important aspect which technology is encapsulating and helping the recruiters to assess a candidate's intent and attitude, which I think is more important than many of the physical qualifications of a candidate. Here, AI plays a very important role, and this can be played even better if we can train the model better and better over the time. That's one. Number two, in terms of those who are recruiting, I think the companies are also becoming open to try out new things. There is a very big e-wallet company back in Southeast Asia, and they have decided and declared in social media and in all the public forums, then from now on, they will no more look into the academic qualification of a candidate. They will only go for the capability of the candidate from a real life world. This is brilliant. Today, our discussion that we are having is probably not about established banks or companies like us who are into technology space for last 20, 25 years. We are more talking about these startups. And startups need to be open to try new influx, new avenues of getting talents. Later down the line in the discussion today, I think we will also discuss what is called talent and how we need to assess talents, and most importantly, how to attract and retain talents more. So in summary, I believe in the help of technology, but at the end of the day, it is very important to get a human touch done. And the final assessment should never be avoiding that human touch, human interaction. AI may help me to shortlist from 100 to 10, but from 10 to 1, it is very important that there is an organic touch to it. Me as a traditional marketer, salesperson, and an HR person, if I do not touch and feel, I just cannot get it. I mean, it doesn't happen for me. Yeah.
Totally agree with what you shared, Mr. Hassan. I think the touch and feel part is really true. I think it's not much of a institutional, no matter where you're from, or is it a generation thing? I think it's more of a personal preference. I think for me, I'm leaning towards that as well. But I think, right, because as how HR Powered carry out its panel discussion is that we will normally get a few companies from different tiers, as in the experience of a certain industry. So of course, I'm representing a startup if I can, because I'm actually from a startup. So KV is actually from a job recruitment company. So since we are talking about talent pipeline for startups today, so I think for a lot of startups, when we are talking about talent or manpower that are capable of building your startup, I think that is actually a very important aspect for any founders, because you can only build something if you have the right person or right people on your team. But let's just talk about startups, since startups is always about limited resources and stuff like that. So of course, like what Kam Soon shared just now, he has his own ways of handling stuff at the bank. JDs, some can be manuals. Some processes are, of course, automated and stuff like that. But for startups, right, my experience is that 9 out of 10 of my startups friends are still, I think they do not actually have a clue on how to actually build a really strong talent pipeline. Like even myself, most of the time I would just look at what are the kind of tasks or work that I can foresee that is going to happen in the next month. And then right now I'm going to look for talent, which I think Ms. Kebe would say that is definitely the wrong way. There's too short of a timeline and not the right way to obtain talent as well. So like I think just to bring the discussion back to the topic today, like if a startup that has a limited resources today, how can one actually start kickstart the process of building one strong talent pipeline, or at least have a list of no talents that you can keep in view or get in touch again in the future when you're ready to engage them and stuff like that. Maybe Kwei can share a bit. Kwei, you're actually muted actually. Sorry. Yep, all right.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because I'm a recruiter, so usually I will ask my candidate about type of company that you are keen to joining all this. So when it comes to hiring for the talent for the staff, for sure it's very quite challenging because a lot of people they will just want to join a lot of big company like international company all this because their pay is very good. And also another thing is because of the company branding. So usually the thing I use to attract the talent to join a star company is by telling the boss. So because nowadays a lot of companies, of course, if let's say you want to compete the salary with all the like big companies, a bit difficult because we all know that startup companies have limited resources. So if let's say you want to compete the salary with a lot of big companies, that definitely is even more difficult to do so. So usually I will just tell the candidate like, if let's say you are joining the startup company, then you will be following a very good mentor. So this mentor can actually teach you a lot of things. So this is the first thing. Because I also aware that nowadays a lot of candidates they are not just looking for the job because they are looking for a career. So if let's say they are looking for the career, the first thing they will look at the management first, and also including the boss. So it's also very important for us to do our personal branding because a lot of time for the candidate they can't really if let's say they can't really find any information online regarding to my company, for example, they will have lack of like confidence to joining my company because they might feel like this company don't really have a very good branding. So these are the things my host the candidate say. So this is the first thing about the employer branding, which is quite important nowadays, especially come to a lot of candidates, they are quite care about money. So usually they just want to tell you that they would like to apply for the job like international because they want to get more money. So the second thing is that because we do have quite a lot of clients, there's also a startup company. We're aware that there's a situation whereby the company do not have a very clear mission and vision. It's not just only that because some of the bosses they will just think that it doesn't matter to let my team to aware of what is my mission and vision. But then this is a very important thing to let the team also understand about like what is your vision, mission, all this, so that you can make sure your team and the company goal is aligned. So this is the thing we noticed. I mean, a lot of some companies, they didn't really do so because maybe they can't see the importance by telling the team like what is the mission, vision, all this. And also another thing, because we can see for the startup company, usually I would say most of the time you have to multitasking all this. And then the stress level will be slightly higher compared to maybe other companies. So it's also good for the boss or the management to still to show some appreciation to the team by sending all these team members to some online courses from time to time. Because by doing so, it will eventually tell the team that actually your effort is appreciated by the boss or by the business owner or the so eventually they will stay longer for the company. Because as I mentioned just now, they are not just looking for the job. If let's say they are joining startup company, they are looking for a career. So of course they want to like go together with a business. And then the last thing is that because a lot of startup company they will just tell me that if let's say sending the staff to go for some training session will be quite costly. But then the thing you have to know about that, if let's say the good talent is resigning from the organization, it's even more costly because we are losing a very good talent. So it's good for us to retain a good talent before the person like officially leaving from the organization. And some more because we have so many resources nowadays, we do have some online courses for free. So usually I advise the staff bosses to send their team, to send through some training programs so that the team can grow together with the business. So in the future, your company is going to expand. So at the same time, we can also make sure that this person feels that it's sufficient enough to support your business. So this is the thing usually I will tell to my clients. I'm not sure if you all agree or not.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Ms. Kevin. I think what you shared is really true. For example, like if you're talking about company branding, I do realize a lot of startups, let's not just only talk about company branding. They are not even sure of the direction they want to go, as in where do they represent within the market itself. So it's actually really hard to retain candidates if the candidate come to you and then it seems like, oh, you're not too sure of what you want to do, because a lot of startups, they are still in the midst of finding out their own identity, like what is my true position within the market, or what is my company truly about. So a lot of time they are still pivoting and stuff like that. But as representing a startup, I would say that it's something that is can't be avoided, because I think the nature of a startup is that it can be quite you can't predict what will happen, because a lot of stuff, a lot of times when you meet new people, or you have new opportunities coming in, whether it's a collaboration or partnerships, along the way you would have to tweak your offerings, or tweak some of your company services in order to just survive, right? Because if you can't even survive, then you can't there's no point in building a talent pipeline and all, because you will just be gone the next month. So I think let's just go back to the topic of branding your own startup. Is there anything that a startup founder can take away from more established players, like institutional banks, or maybe a big corporation like what Mr. Hassan is actually working with right now? Maybe Kamsun, you want to share some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Jin. So when I look at it, what Kerwin mentioned, it's all very, very relevant. It's because the fact that now I am in touch with the students now these days. The students meaning to say the Gen Z, right? So culture, branding, and things like that, and also especially the purpose. These young kids these days, they talk about purpose a lot. I know sometimes it's a overblown kind of a concept or a term they use. So give you an example. When I asked the second and third year students in the Australian University in Monash, Malaysia, asked them, where do you want to work? He said, oh, I want to work in KPMG. Or I want to work in, KPMG. I use KPMG. I know it's not a startup, but KPMG. So I asked them, oh, very good. KPMG Malaysia is very good. Oh, no, I don't want to work in KPMG Malaysia. I want to work in KPMG Singapore. I want to work in KPMG London. And I said, why? Yeah, I don't quite like the Malaysian culture over here. I said, what about startups? He says, nah, I don't know sometimes whether these companies will last long time or not. So to come back to your question, Jin, I think it's very important that startup must have their mission and vision quite clear in that sense. Granted the fact that things are fluid, right? You may not know, somebody will come and do some partnership, and the direction of the company will kind of tilt a little bit to another direction. But the ethos of it, let's say, for example, if I want to be a so-called e-payment company, that ethos should be quite consistent. But how they do it, it can be fluid in that sense, because things change a lot. Partnership, funding, they may have different things, but they still want to be that. So in order to attract these people, these Gen Zs, these new talents, you just, hopefully the owners or the HR will tell them that this is the ethos, and also warn them that things could change a little bit, but our ethos and our mission and vision will more or less be that direction, that I want to be a e-money player, or a buy now, pay later player in this market, and we will grow it in that manner. So if you give that kind of confidence to them, and also warn them a little bit that things will be challenging. So I think they will be happy to join. And this is what I get from them, because I tell them that, hey, you know, you cannot always work from home, you know, that kind of thing. Even though fintech and everything can work from home, are you prepared to go on middle ground, meaning to say hybrid working? I say, yeah, I can do hybrid working, but don't ask me to go 5 days a week to the office or things like that. So you can see that these Gen Z, their psychology and things like that, they are quite okay. They are quite okay to support fintechs, which is kind of volatile and can be quite messy. But so long as the owner has a clear vision and there is a clear HR person to manage this thing, right? And know about the developments of the company, where is it, and do the necessary engagement, I think we can, fintech startups can attract the suitable talent to the industry or to the company. That's my take, Jim.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kang.
Thank you. Kiwi and Kang Seon, you have put very good perspectives to it. As we recruit from the young candidates in the recent 3-4 years, there is a very interesting shift, and I must praise them. During my time, I started my career with advertising, and that time my only intent was to work with JWT, McCann Erickson, Saatchi and Saatchi. These are the names that were very big here. And if I were not there, I was a failure. That was my time's attitude toward getting job. But recent years, I have seen a very, very beautiful shift among the young crowd. They are more courageous. They are very open. And like Kang Seon was saying, they are very, very eager to get a clarity on the purpose. And if there is a good match, they're okay to jump in. My time, 25 years back, I would never do it. But today, they will do it. How this whole shift has happened, I have no clue. I think there is a big hoo-ha around startup, and startup is no more unsexy. It's sexy. It's good. But the question is attracting talent. And I just want to remind you about one thing. Talent doesn't mean the top scorers. Talent doesn't mean that a boy or a girl from engineering, medical, and whatnot. It's the conventional belief. To me, talent is the right fit. If a person is the right fit for a security guard, he is the talent for the security guard position. That is very important. You give a PhD teacher the job of a security guard, he will leave tomorrow. It's not a fit. It's never a fit, right? So it is very important for the recruiter to understand what exact capabilities I'm looking for. And do I need to go for the top of the lot, or do I need to go for the right mental fit person? This is number one. Number two, I need to also understand as a startup, what is going to be the size of my talent pool? Sometimes we overhire. Sometimes we underhire. Overhire doesn't give a purpose and enough job meaning to the candidates. Underhire, stress. Both are bad. So how can I right fit and right size my team is very important for the owner to consider. And the third point is very crucial. See, as a startup, I do not have any brand value. I may have a beautiful logo, but that doesn't have any emotional appeal to it. A rather lousy logo of Microsoft carries probably a lot more value than a beautiful logo of a not so well-known startup. So it's not about the logo. I think in a startup environment, the young talents join looking at the driver, the owner. So the owner is the brand here, not the company. The purpose is the brand here, not the company. The potential of me as a young candidate joining this cause and creating some change is actually the brand here, not the company. Sometimes not even the pay package. So often we miss this thing. And there are many pitches whereby I have seen the owners of startups are saying we are going to attract the best talents, and for which I need some additional 100,000 US and whatnot. Probably the word is not the best talent. Probably the word is the right talent. And we never know. In very mediocre students, typically known mediocre, lies the gem which we are missing as startup owners. And we are looking for the top ones and frustrating ourselves because top ones in my environment probably will not stay. But that mediocre guy or a girl who has the clear vision on the purpose is willing to fight for me because the mission and his or her intent matches well. There, $500 less or more doesn't make much sense. The satisfaction makes the sense. We as startup owners must never miss this. And another mistake that many of the startup owners do, they leave the talent acquisition and searching to the HR team, usually a one-member team. I think this is wrong. You are the HR. You are the tech chief. You are the business development chief. You are everything. Be there, show up for your startup cause. And trust you me, good talents will show up for you. I have always seen this. It always happens. The candor is very important. The commitment of the owner is very important. You cannot rely getting the right person with an appointed HR personnel, with due respect to all the HR people who have joined here. I have nothing against you, but it is very important for me. If it is very important for me to attract the right talent, it is me who need to be there on the field. Not I cannot rely on anybody else to get the right person for me. Sorry, it will never work.
Jim, if I can just supplement what Hassan is saying on his third point, which is very true, right? Those Ivy Leagues or all the top students, the first class honors student or even the second class upper students, they will want to go for all the good companies, the Googles, the Microsoft and things like that, right? And I find that it is actually the second class lower or the third class honor student or the general degree students, they are more hungry basically because they know that they don't have the opportunity, and often than not, they may not excel in academically, but in terms of the thinking and the hunger to want to learn and also to invest their time and energy into a startup will be more. You will be surprised, right? A lot of times, these people are always overlooked in that sense. Whereas my ex-boss always tells me, you know, some of them are fighting for their lunch, but some of them is fighting for their career, which is they are in the B40s or even the M40s kind of category. They want to break out and they want to get a break. And if the startup has the right environment, right, even though it's like what Hassan was saying, not a very popular brand for the time being, but their purpose and their ethos and their mission vision is actually on the right track, right? And they are given the opportunity, exposure to do data science, to do all these algorithms and things like that. And with proper guidance, you'll be surprised these people will basically flourish. And these are all, I would say, you know, late boomers in their career. So that is one thing that if startup wants to look for talent, you know, and you think that you may not be able to get the first class honors students, try looking at the second class lower or the third class honors or the general degrees one. Of course, like what Hassan was saying, the psychometric must be a right fit and everything, right? Typically, traditionally, the psychometric test will only come in during the interview. But now with AI and things like that, you can actually screen them first as a first thing, right? So you do the psychometric test earlier before you even shortlist them. Whereas in the bank's traditional organization, the psychometric test will only come in during the interview, right? Which is could be late in that sense. So that's my input to supplement what Hassan is saying.
Very, very important point. Very important point. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for pointing out that as well. So I think just back to the question, right, where Kamsun was sharing just now, like the mentality of Gen Z. Yeah, before I go to the points shared by Mr. Hassan. So let's talk about Gen Z a bit more, because technically I still can be included within the Gen Z last year. 1995, so-called borderline of millennials and Gen Z. So the thing that I often realize with Gen Z is that it's true what Mr. Kamsun just shared, that some of them can be more adventurous, and they are open to hear what you have to offer as a startups and stuff like that, and they are willing to have a look at what you actually do, as compared to what Mr. Hassan will share. 25 years ago, no one would care about what you actually do. Joining the big companies are what bringing the bread and butter to the table. So, but one irony thing that I realized with Gen Z is also, I'm not sure if it's a generation thing. Maybe Mr. Kamsun can share more. That they are also pretty unsure on what they actually want. So for startups, right? And for startup, of course, sometimes you might also be unsure of what you're actually offering to the market, because you're pivoting here and there. And Gen Z, we are talking about young group of people. So it's, of course, it makes sense for them to explore here and there, because it's the start of their career. But how do we navigate through this pipeline so that we do not waste too much time, resources on talking to these people, and then we hire them, and then after 2 to 3 months they realize that, okay, this is interesting, but then I realized that, okay, I would rather work at a proper institution instead of a startup. So so during that time, you have already invested some of your time, some of your money, some of your resources in, and that is devastating for someone to actually leave your team by then. So is there anything that a startup founders can do to actually mitigate this risk, or at least lower it to a really minimum level?
Yeah, you are right. You're absolutely right. I would say half of the the Gen Zs in second and third year or the final year, right? They are still very unsure of what they want to do, right? And this is a little bit of frustrating part on my side. This is what I discovered as well in the course of my teaching with them. So, so one thing a startup can do is that these so-called second or third year students or final year students, they want something very, very important, right? Which is internship, right? So a lot of time in Monash, Malaysia, we always encourage them in their second and third year, which is the final year, right? To seek for internship for 3 to 6 months kind of thing. And often and not, they find it difficult to get internship because nobody wants to hire them. Now, this, I believe, startup or fintechs or even startup or fintechs can actually look for it. So come to our university basically to do some roadshow and explain what your company is all about, and at the same time pitch to them that we are actually looking for interns to join us for whatever the amount of time that you can accommodate them. Say for example 3 months, and you just need to pay them an allowance. Not to say don't pay them anything lah, because after that Syed Saddiq will scream and shout in the parliament to say that you guys are abusing the interns. So pay them something like 500 to 1,000 kind of thing, and offer them, like, say for example there are 3 or 4 positions for that internship. If you cannot accommodate them 6 months, maybe 3 months or something, which I think it's good. So from there you can identify, let's say for example Jin joins as an intern, right? Then I can give some work to him. Of course you do the psychometric test first lah, like what Hassan is saying first, and then identify, hey, Jin seems to have the right psychometric. Now let's test him on his technical skills and whether he can do work and things like that, whether he's adventurous. Then you just join him, ask Jin to join Hassan as an intern for 3 months. Then there you monitor whether these people, Jin got talent or not. Right? Then your investment will be very low, rather than hiring a full-time staff, which costs you maybe 2,000, 3,000, right? But then if he if Jin performs during the 3 months, then you say, oh, okay, maybe say Hassan say, I still not enough, I still cautious. Then maybe you tell Jin, I like you a lot. I think you got a lot of talent. Will you be okay to extend your internship for another couple of months or 1 more month? Then you use the opportunity to test him further. Then Hassan say, I think Jin is talented, he got potential. Then you can offer him a fresh grad job upon graduation. And I'm sure if Jin is someone is very hungry and everything, he will jump on it. He will say, yeah, I want, because he already familiarized with it. Provided Jin also like Hassan's corporate culture and the business direction, right? The business strategy and things like that. So if all these things are aligned, which is come back to Hassan's thing, right fit, then offer him a job. Then your risk of getting the wrong candidates will be a lot lower. And it's a win-win situation for both Jin and also for the startup in that sense. So this is one way that I think that startups can look for. And if anybody wants to, come to Monash University to do a pitching session or a settings roadshow, so-called, I'm happy to facilitate for that.
Okay, I will remember that offer.
I quite agree to what Mr. Stay say, because usually sometimes if let's say we hire the person as a full-timer, and we invest a lot of things on this person, if let's say the person can't release our hands for about like 3 months, something they want to leave, it's definitely a cost for the company. So usually this is the thing that we'll be doing. And then the other thing we'll be doing is during the interview session, we'll be tell the candidates that the worst situation that this candidate might be facing in the future. For example, because as a recruiter, sometimes you also have to work on weekends. So I will just straight away tell the candidate saying that, hey, if let's say you are working as a recruiter, there are sometimes maybe you still have to work on weekends and see like what is the response given by the candidates. So if let's say maybe the candidate showing a very positive response, then I have to like, hey, this person maybe have a very good attitude. Maybe they are quite flexible in working on weekends. So this is something I will try to see about their reaction during the interview session.
Okay,
And
so
also to supplement what Kerwei is saying, right? You can also, okay, let's say for example, Kerwei wants Jin to work Saturday, right? On a thing. Then maybe you say, Kerwei can offer, say, okay, because we need to rush the deadline because we are launching a product or whatever thing, right? It is, you work on weekend, maybe we will allow you, once this launch is done already, you can take the Monday off, whatever it is. So it shows that, startup is supposed to be flexible and more dynamic, that kind of thing. So you really translate your, what is known in the market about the malleability of a startup culture and translate into real words. Then they say, oh, okay lah, I work Saturday to launch this product. I help the company. I also feel nice about it because I'm part of the success of the launch. Then, maybe Kerwei say Monday I can take off. So if you have that kind of flexibility and work it together, I'm sure you will endear, right? And this will go word of mouth, right? Then Jin will tell his friends and hey, my company asked me to work weekend, but they replace for me one day, right? Not bad. So, what gets around, then, Kerwei's company will be well known in the sense of taking care of the work-life balance and the mental health of Gen Zs, for example. Is something that I noticed that Gen Z will like it as well.
Yeah, I think Council have made a really good point on making sure that your perks are flexible as well because you are startups. So most of the time, I think I'm guilty in a sense. I've not thought of things that way before. Because I think if you can offer perks like that, it shows that wow, you are working in a startup. And the perks that you actually get to enjoy are different. Even though sometimes you need to work on weekends, and then suddenly your friends see that on Monday you are not working. So it's an interesting perk. But back to the topic of what Mr. Hassan said just now, right fit. So on top of my head, I'm thinking right now, how do I actually, increase the efficiency of me finding the right fit? As in, how do I, not to say filter, because that's the norm of startup in Malaysia. They would hire a bunch of interns. like 8 to 10 of them at the same time. And then often some of them don't even know what they are actually supposed to do in that company. But when you talk to the founders, hey, why do you actually do this? I have some friends doing that as well. They hire like interns all the time, all year long, 6 to 7 of them, 6 to 7 of interns every single month. So is that the right so-called ways to build your talent pipeline or not? Because we have to think from the intern's perspective as well. Like I'm now right now working for a startup, but I'm not getting much out of it. As in, I'm not learning anything. I'm just here, and the founders are using this so-called method to see if the candidate is right fit or not. So, what should be the right practice to go on to search for the right fit, while not abusing the talent in a sense, ensuring that they at least learn something when they are with us, you know. So maybe Mr. Hassan, you can share a bit more, and then KW can come in and then share.
Sure. Jean, you have put up a very interesting scenario, and I think the availability of students looking for internship sometimes gives some of the startups a scope to abuse the availability, which is not the right thing to do. Because see, at the end of the day, every move by your company or you as an owner of the company becomes a story. And if the story is not good, it hurts back. Right? Now, again, me as a startup owner or a founding member of the startup, I also need to decide some of the tasks of my startup need to build over time an internal capacity to get it delivered, because that is core. And some of the tasks, some of the functions are non-core. For example, collecting survey results. I can do it occasional interns and 2 months, 3 months intern after intern. If there are 4 cycles, I cover the entire year. But the analysis of the survey and getting a meaning out of the survey for my client, I need to build an internal capacity by an analyst. And that analytical job, I cannot rely on a statistics student who's looking for internship for 3 months and another set of intern for 3 months. Like this, I can also do. But what I actually do not build is an internal capability, because I'm selling not the survey, I'm selling the analysis to my clients. So sometimes the startup owners, the founders, miss the important point. What is core and what is non-core? Non-core can live with it. Core, I must build capacity over the time. And for that, I need to retain people. I need to train somebody. I need to get someone who has the right attitude, aptitude, and the intent towards the job. There is a very interesting question that came up in the chat box. I think we need to reflect on this also. So the last point that I want to say here is that I have seen many startups offer employees or talent for that matter an early offering of shareholding. You join us, we give you this shareholding and that shareholding. I think this is a gift which should come with performance, not as a joining offer. That undermines the value of the share of that startup. Yes, if I want a very senior professional who is unwilling or unlikely to join my startup, and I can never compensate him or her with the right pay package, that can be a joining offer. But for anyone and everyone who is joining the company and I'm offering, okay, I give you 20% less of the market, but I compensate you with a 3% shareholding in my company for a person who is not proven to me, or the person whom I'm offering, and he also doesn't feel that why the company is giving me 3%, create a lot of dissonance, mistrust, and lack of appreciation of the value of that 3% company shareholding. So we should not be misusing this like this, the way it is done sometimes. Yeah, that's my few observations on it.
Yeah, I think the profit sharing method is quite a good method because most of the time, there are people still care about the money. So, but provided that this person must be meeting the KPI monthly, then only you'll be entitled for the thing. Because it will somehow like motivate the team to even perform better, so that the company can go together with the team. And then back to the question just now, like hiring intern, all this. So I think the first thing first you have to identify the business needs first before proceeding to hiring all the interns. Because like what you all mentioned just now, it's not good to hire interns to just sit there to help like serve us the coffee, all this. We have to make sure that if let's say you hire them, we'll be providing the proper training to them. So usually for us, we will try to recommend the employer to treat the intern as a full-timer. So if let's say you are providing the training session for the full-timer, you can also try to providing the same thing to the interns. So we can see during the intern period, like how does the intern performance. So if let's say the intern performance is good enough, you can try to convert the person to become a full-timer. So even if somehow you can also check whether or not the person is fit into your company culture or not. So yeah, so we have to give enough autonomy to the intern. Yeah, like how we treat our full-time.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all this. I think before I go to what KW have shared, I really like what Mr. Hassan shared just now on the appreciation of employee stock option and stuff like that. Because I think I used to talk about that with my mentor a lot during the Cradle program back then in Malaysia. Because I'm really not sure on how to properly retain the talent. So all I could think of is, what about I just push the biggest chunk of value out to them in my perspective, which is a stock option. But I think what Mr. Hassan had pointed out just now is a really good POV from the talent or the intern's perspective. Like what you view as in the value of that stock option doesn't mean that the other person would view it the same way. So I think a lot of these times it comes down to the perfect alignment of expectation between two parties. You have to be sure of why they are here in your company, and as well as they have to see the value in your company as well. So I think I really like what Mr. Hassan has shared just now. But let's come back to what KW have shared just now. So KW, so in that sense, let's say about so what would your advice be, right, from a job recruitment specialist or job platform, so-called, for a startup founder to properly make sure that their interns get any value out of their internship? So Mr. Hassan has shared just now, break down your task to core and non-core. So non-core can be pretty much your repetitive or manual tasks, I believe, like surveys, poll questions. So those are some of the tasks where anyone could do it, or most of 90% of the time anyone could do it. So then some of the core tasks are like skills that you pass on to them, like maybe it's digital marketing or some of the more statistic reporting, pitch deck crafting, stuff like that. So is there a way where, because at the start of this panel discussion, you mentioned that JAV or Job Majestic do provide some sort of training as well for their team, and you encourage people to bring their team over to your office to actually go through this training together. But what if they would like to do let's say internally, are there some training that or some topics that you believe that startup founders should talk about with their team to improve how the team can work together or to improve the general value that the interns can take out of it?
So usually in order to come up with the training program, the first thing first you have to identify like what is the issue happen in the company first. Because I would say for different companies, they are facing different kind of issues. So the first thing the trainer will do, they will try to identify what is the issue happening in the company first and see like what are the soft skills or what are the technical skills needed in order to furnish them to further develop their existing skill set or to develop the new skill set for them. So we have to identify the skill set for them first, and then only we can come up with the outline for the training program, which will suitable for them.
I see. So it all comes back down to the company's value as well as the founders take him or herself.
Yeah, because I would say for different level of the people there, the skill set needed is quite different. So if let's say for the manager position, the skill set that needs is more about the leadership skills or this problem solving skills or this. But then if let's say for the junior level, maybe the skill set needed is for the like communications, like how would you going to communicate well with your colleague, everything.
I see.
So it still depend on the issue that's facing by the company and also the role of the person, because for every role they do have different training will be provided.
All right, thank you so much. I believe that we have about 4 minutes in this panel discussion, so maybe we can sum it up. From my take, what my takeaway from today's panel discussion is that firstly, what Mr. Hassan shared is very interesting as well. It's about the alignment between two parties of your company and the talent himself. Mr. Hassan today talked a lot on the right fit, the aptitude to do certain things as well. As well as answering some questions from the comment section just now. Offering stock option might not often be the best way to go about retaining a talent. Sometimes you have to see what the other party needs, as well as what the party see in your company as well, so that the value can be aligned between two parties. Okay. Mr. Kanson also shared a lot on how Gen Z view startups and also corporates in today's world. He also shared on how to minimize or mitigate the risk of building your own talent pipelines. It's always good to implement some sort of tests, like psychometric tests, what Mr. Kanso has shared just now, in the early phase of your startups, rather than you implement it later down the road, like what corporates used to do. You can hire a lot of talents. You can hire a lot of interns to actually work with you, and you monitor them across some period of time. And feel free to extend that period to monitor them further. But of course, you have to make sure that they take out some sort of value out when working with your company as well. Because I think all of the panelists here have shared that whatever you do as a founder in a startup, it becomes a story, and it could backfire if it's not done well enough. So long story short, to the startups that are hearing here today, do not abuse your interns. If not, you won't be able to hire anyone in the future. So I think Kaylee today I've shared that her company actually came up with the AI model as well to help you pre-filter or give scores to some of the talents before you actually get to interview or talk to them. But it's also very important that you have that you know what you want in each role of the talent. Let's say a managerial role and a junior role is two different talent that you're talking about. Make sure that you align some sort of expectation as well as training and also things to provide support for them to do their job well as well. Anything to add on for that before we conclude this panel discussion?
Maybe just one last point to supplement what Jean has said. I know startup face competition in terms of talent, but there are places to look for that, and it could be at unexpected places. So startup is traditionally looking at things differently, right? Out of the box and things like that. So maybe looking for talent, you also need to look at places, look at places that is uncommon for the traditional industries that always look for, and also give a chance to those people who are deemed not academically excellent, because you'll be surprised to find gems in there to fit into to be hired as a full-time staff, and possibly, they will reward you with their loyalty if both of your companies and employees treat each other well.
Perfect. Yeah, I think Jean, you covered it well, and supplemented by Kang Chon. It's beautifully done.
You're on mute, Jean.
Thank you, Mr. Hassan and Kang Chon. What about KV? Do you have anything to share before we conclude this panel discussion today?
Yeah, so far I think it's pretty much cover what we have shared just now. So yeah, I think one last point to add, because nowadays the ChatGPT is quite useful. So I think as a startup company, we can also try to utilize all this technology, because I have seen some marketer that has created some marketing content by using just a ChatGPT. So it will eventually help the companies to save a lot of cost as well. So you can try to explore maybe ChatGPT, and also for the Bing, there's a platform called Bing. It's also something similar to ChatGPT.
All right, so make sure to make use of all the tools that are out there as well, founders. Right, with that, I think we have concluded today's panel discussion. Huge thanks to the panelists that are attending today, Kwei, Kang Chon, as well as Mr. Hassan. Before we go though, just to recap a bit, HR Powered will be having all these panel discussion once every week. Maybe it's on a Thursday or on a Wednesday, depending on the availability of the speakers or the panelists itself. So do stay tuned, because we have more panel discussion coming up. And if you like to view this session again, I think it's recorded by Paddy, and he will post it after he gotten all your consent, of course, on different social medias. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.